Hi, everybody. It's Laura, the library lady here at the Massillon Public Library. Welcome to our zombie party. Hope everybody's having a great day. We're going to get started here in just a second by talking about what is a zombie. You know, I used to be afraid of zombies, but zombies aren't really real. But we do have a lot of books about zombies in the children's department at the Massillon Public Library. This one's called The World of Horror, Zombies. So from this book, I'm going to tell you, what is a zombie? A zombie is a person who is neither dead nor alive, the undead. In folklore, zombies are walking corpses. They have died, but have been awakened through supernatural means. The rotting cadavers seek out the living, intent on killing and eating the humans they find. In some stories, zombies especially want to eat human brains. As part of the voodoo religion, zombies are people who are neither dead nor alive, but now walk the earth with no soul or will of their own. A Bokor is their master. The zombies do whatever is commanded of them, doomed to an existence of servitude as uncomplaining workers. The term zombie seems to originate from the African word nzambi, or God. Whether reality or fiction, zombies will always be popular characters in the world of horror. So we know lots of cartoons, even Spider-Man and Scooby-Doo have zombies sometimes in their stories. So that's something that we might have books on at the library. And I want to read you a little bit of a story about some zombies. It's called Case File 13, Zombie Kid. And this book is a chapter book, and it's about three friends who are getting ready for Halloween. They are at Nick's house, but Nick is nowhere to be found. In the 4 years since they discovered their mutual love for monsters and become best friends, Angelo, Carter, and Nick had gone trick-or-treating together every Halloween. They'd become something of a legend around their neighborhood. Every year, the other kids and even the parents waited to see what the three monster-teers, as they called themselves, would be. This year, it was Nick's turn to come up with the idea, and although they knew he'd been working on the costume for months, he'd remained extremely secretive about what that costume was. But tonight, 3 days before Halloween, was the big unveiling. Carter asked, "Do you think there are such things as real monsters?" He was eyeing Angelo's vampire model. "You know, actual bloodsuckers and stuff like that? Or do you think it's only in the movies?" "Definitely not just the movies," Angelo said. "I read this story last month about 3 hunters who got lost in some woods way up north." He was always searching for new stories and articles about monsters or other creepy stuff he could add to his monster notebook. "What happened to them?" Carter upended the chip bag and dumped the last of the crumbs into his mouth. "They hiked it till it started getting dark," Angelo said. "Finally, they figured out they weren't going to find their camp before morning, so they decided to light a fire. Only they had just one match. 2 of them went out looking for branches and stuff, while a third guy carved up a couple of sticks." "And?" Carter asked, his voice quiet. Angelo wiped his palms on his jeans. "When the 2 hunters came back from getting wood, there was a pile of kindling and a pocket knife on the ground. But the third guy was gone. They shouted like crazy, but they couldn't find him anywhere. By then it was getting really cold. They figured maybe he went off to go to the bathroom or something, so they were just going to start the fire without him. But just before they lit the match, a cloud blew over the moon and everything went dark." Go on," Carter said, unconsciously crumpling the empty bag in his hands. Angelo held his fingers in front of him as though striking a match. The guy lights the match, and he sees 2 pairs of eyes looking back at him. One is the second hunter's, but the other set is red. Both of the guys swear they saw a hairy face with a big humped forehead and wicked sharp teeth as long as their fingers. They said the creature was squatting down and its belly was all swollen out like it had just ate a huge meal. And here's the totally sick part. It was wearing the torn shirt of the third hunter across its shoulders like a trophy. "Werewolf?" Carter breathed. Angelo nodded knowingly. The cops figured the only reason it didn't eat the other 2 guys was because it filled up on their friend. At that moment, the bathroom door creaked open a few inches and a hand reached out and shut off the bedroom light. Both boys gasped. As the door opened, Carter and Angelo squinted into the bathroom, which was lit by a strange purple glow. "Nick?" Carter's voice came out shakier than he intended. That story about the hunters had really gotten to him. Instead of an answer, there came a wet, chuckling sound. Something appeared in the doorway, and Carter's stomach somersaulted into his throat. The figure that stepped out of the bathroom was hunched slightly, but it still stood a full foot taller than Nick. From one side of its face, a single eye glared a baleful red. The other side was a mass of twitching muscle and shining white bone. The creature shambled into the room, and although Carter knew it had to be Nick, he still found himself pushing himself back into the beanbag. The creature was dressed in the torn rags of a shirt and pants. Through the rips and holes, the gray flesh of its arms and legs appeared to be peeling away in spots. It moved with the slow, jerky steps of a puppet. "Zombie," Angelo whispered, not sounding too steady himself. Hearing Angelo's voice, the figure swiveled its head toward him. The zombie's mouth opened in a snaggle-toothed grin, and the creature reached into the front of its shirt and pulled something out. For a moment, Carter couldn't see what it was holding, but he could tell something was moving in its fingers. Then he realized what it was, and all the breath whooshed out of his lungs. The zombie gripped a heart in its fist. The heart was beating. As though taking a bite of a fresh apple, the zombie brought the beating heart close to its lips and said, "Behold your new costume." So if you want to find out what happens to the zombie and the friends in this book, you will have to read Case File 13, Zombie Kid by J. Scott Savage. All right, we're going to get started with making our zombie doll. So you've got a packet of stuff that you picked up from the library, and inside your repurposed Blu-ray case, you should have some small items, and there should also be a ball of yarn. So what you need to do is look for your wire. First of all, there should be some wire rolled up in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the wire and we're just going to kind of unroll it because it doesn't really need to be rolled up. It was just to fit in the case, and find one end of it. So I'm kind of going to straighten out the wire with my fingers. And then I'm going to find my styrofoam ball, little tiny styrofoam ball, and that's going to be our zombie's head. So does everybody have their wire and their ball? Okay, so being very careful not to poke yourself, you're going to put the wire through the center of the ball. Just push it through, it's not too hard. Okay, I got mine coming out. I'm going to bring it out a little bit because I'm going to make a hanger. I like the idea of putting a hanger on my zombie so you could hang it up. I'm going to bring out maybe 2 inches, and I'm going to twist it around, kind of make a loop and kind of twist that wire around so that can be our hanger. I'm going to turn it, twist around there a couple times. You might need your grown-up to help you if your fingers aren't strong enough to do that. Okay, so there's my hanger. Here's my zombie's head. And then what I'm going to do is just start bending it so that it looks like I've left a neck, and I'm going to make an arm. And my zombie, you know, his arm is about 1.5 inches long. So I'm going to make an arm just like that, kind of however you want to do it is fine. And then I'm going to wrap around the neck again, just to give it some more strength. Okay, so after you've made one arm and wrapped it around the neck, you can go ahead and make your other arm. And they don't have to be equal because, you know, it's a zombie, it's the undead, right? So it might look all funny and uneven. Okay, I made my other arm, and I'm just going to wrap around again. And all of this is going to be covered with yarn, so it doesn't matter if it looks weird or yucky inside. Did you guys get some arms? Okay, after you do your arms, I want you to leave a little bit for a body, and then make some legs. So it's kind of the same as the arms, only Don't go all the way back up to the arms. I'll make my leg like that. And I'm going to wrap the wire around the body just to make it stronger. So I have 2 arms and a leg now. And then I'm going to go down, I'm going to make another leg. I think you have plenty of wire. You'll probably cut off some of that. Okay, so there's my other leg. And I'm just going to kind of wrap it around the body some more to make it stronger. And just kind of play with it a little bit to see how I like it. If you don't want to cut off that wire, you can just kind of wrap it all around to use it up. But I'm going to cut mine off, and you might have to have a grown-up to help you cut yours off. Okay, so now I've got the end, and I'm just going to try to wrap it around and kind of hide the end. Kind of down in his chest or his back. Okay, does everybody have a little wire guy, a little zombie guy? All right, now I'm going to take my yarn, and I have to find the end of it. And I'm going to take the yarn and just start wrapping it around the head. And you can glue it down if you want to, but you don't really have to, because you're just going to be wrapping it all around. And just don't get it stuck on the arms. And you want to kind of go different directions to get it to go around the ball shape. And try to cover most of the styrofoam. You don't really even want it to look too neat, because, you know, the zombie, like we said, is the undead monster creature. So you want it to look kind of wacky. So going all different directions is good. Keep it a little bit tight, because you don't want it to slide off of the head. So you just kind of have to be slow and patient about it. Try to go different directions and cover up all the styrofoam. If you don't end up covering all the styrofoam, that's okay. Maybe you want it that way. Maybe those are his brains, or maybe you're going to make him a hat or something else. When you get most of the way done, you're going to want to look in your DVD case for the beads. And I've got kind of 2 different eyeballs on this guy. This one, I only gave him 1 eye, and then I gave him a red mouth. So you can see what kind of beads you got in your set. And actually, I have a lot of yarn here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of unroll my yarn, because I have extra. And I'm going to cut it off, because I want to get the bead up to where his eye is supposed to be. I'm going to save that yarn for the next project, or I can even add it to this project if I want to. So I put my bead on the yarn, and I'm just going to pull it through until I get it up to his eye area, about where I want it to be, and then I'm going to tie a knot. So this might be where your grown-up has to help you, depending, and I probably should have cut it off sooner, I mean. But that's okay, I can just pull it through. And then once I get it pretty close to where I want it to be on the head, I'm just going to make it tighter. So once I tighten that down, then that's his eye. Okay, I'm going to go around a couple more times. And then I'm going to do my other eye. The end, put the bead on. If you have trouble getting the bead on there, what you can do is kind of twirl your yarn, and maybe you even need to put a little piece of tape. And that'll make it kind of like a sewing needle, so you can kind of push it through the bead. Just make it a pretty small needle so it goes through the bead. And there, that made it a lot easier. Okay, I'm pulling that bead through for the next eye. I'm going to kind of look at my guy here and think, okay, well, I got him a little loose here. I might have to tighten up some of the yarn, kind of fix it while I'm working on his eye. And I'll bring his eye bead up here. And then I'll tie it. Oh boy, here it goes. Okay, and then I'll make sure that it's kind of tight enough and where I want it. Aha. Okay, that's kind of where I want my eyeball. And then I'm going to keep going around. I go between the eyeballs. I can go around underneath, however you want to do it. One of my little guys, I kind of made him like a mummy, but then I made him with a ninja sword. So you can make whatever you want. This guy was just a regular zombie with a Halloween basket. So once you feel like you have enough on your head, you can go down to the neck, and you want to go around the neck a couple of times. And just make sure, you know, his head is facing the front the way you want it to be. And then you can start on kind of the body and the arms at the same time. I kind of went diagonally around the body and up over the arm. And then I'm going to go around the arm. And I'm going around and around and around the arm. And I'm kind of playing with the wire while I'm doing it. And then I'm going to go back toward the body on the arm, around and around. And I'll go diagonally over his body again. And then I'll go to the other arm. So how's everybody doing? I see some eyeballs there. Okay, while you're wrapping, I've got a small poem for you. There once was a zombie named Fred. He just had a body, no head. He searched for his brains, but could find no remains, so he haunted the library instead. Oh, you believe that one? Not me. All right, so I'm going to do that arm all the way out to the end, all the way back to the body, kind of go diagonally around the body and the chest. And then I'm going to start going around his chest, stomach area. And you just kind of keep going and going, keep wrapping and wrapping. And I've got another poem called A Funny School Monster Poem for Kids by Ken Nesbitt. And it goes like this. Our teacher's not a zombie. He's not the living dead, although he's looking ragged and his eyes are rather red. He shuffles to the classroom. He slowly drags his feet. He shambles to the whiteboard, looking broken down and beat. We listen to his plaintive moans. We see the way he strains. We hear him mumble mournfully about the students' brains. But we know not to worry. We never get upset. He's always like this when he hasn't had his coffee yet. I like that one. Okay, so while I was doing that, I was wrapping around the legs, kind of same as the body. Got one leg done. Now I'm going to go on the other leg. Wrapping, wrapping, wrapping. And back up again. And depending on how much yarn you have and how fat you want your zombie to be, you can kind of go over things again if you want or not. I think they look kind of funny when they're skinny. And again, remember we said if it's messy looking and the yarn goes all different directions, that's kind of cool because it looks like a yucky old undead zombie. Okay, now this guy, I kind of went around with the yarn a lot. I gave him a fat tummy. This one I didn't so much. So it's up to you, whatever you want to do. I'll keep wrapping a little bit more here. I'll give him kind of a pot belly. There we go. Okay. And when you get all done, wherever you want to stop with your zombie, you can just cut off your yarn, maybe give yourself a little extra tail there, and you can either try to push it up through some of the yarn, maybe with your scissors, depending on how short you made your tail, or you can put a little dot of glue back there, or you could even kind of go around and kind of halfway tie a knot. And there's your zombie. So you did get some other different colors in your little kit there. So if you want to use some different yarn to make something else, you know, clothing wise or whatever for your zombie with some different yarn, with some stick-on felt. So if you wanted to do the little mouth like I did, you've got some red, black, and white felt. So you could do that. You could make maybe some hair or some ears. You could cut out a shape, whatever you want to do. But that is a sticker on there. So you can take off the backing of that felt and stick it on him. That's how I did that one. He's stuck on there. Also, you should have a piece of ribbon. It's either black or kind of silver. And you can make your hanger. I don't think you're going to hang your zombie on your Christmas tree, are you? Whoops. But you could still hang him somewhere. So I just put that through the little loop on top. Tie an overhand knot. And voila, there you go. Now, if you have the black sparkly ribbon, that was a little bit more difficult and we couldn't get it to tie in a knot, so we did have to glue that. We just kind of crossed it over itself and glued it because it's kind of thick and it doesn't want to bend and tie the knot. So I'm thinking maybe I gave you guys all silver because it was better. All right, also inside your kit, you've got some different scraps of pipe cleaner. So if you want to make something for your zombie to be holding, like I did with this little Halloween bucket for this guy, what I did was I put my handle of my Halloween bucket through the zombie's hand. Handy dandy thing there. And so that's going to be his handle. And then I just kind of wrapped like a spiral to make it look like a little pumpkin bucket. And then I just bent my ends of my handle, kind of stuck it in there. You could also glue that if you want to. So he's holding his little Halloween bucket or basket too. Did anybody get finished yet? Partway. Looks like you're partway finished. Callie, are you done? No, she says no. Ooh, Kennedy, nice. Oh yeah, you guys are coming along. Neat. All right, well, we are going to set that aside and go on to the next thing so that we have Ooh, running out of time. We're going to go on to make our zombie makeup. So what you need is your flour, and your oatmeal, and your glue and corn syrup from your kit. And what we're going to do is first we're going to make fake blood. So for the fake blood, you've got a little instruction sheet. It's kind of the third one down on your instruction sheet. And you need some water. So I did get some water and the corn syrup and the flour and your red and green food coloring. You're going to use 1 part water to 3 parts corn syrup. So what that means is if you have 3 ounces of corn syrup, you're going to use 1 ounce of water. This is a 4-ounce cup that I gave you. So you have about probably 2 ounces of corn syrup. So I'm going to pour my corn syrup into my bowl. And it is really sticky, so I do have a wet wipe here in case I get sticky. So, okay, so there's my corn syrup, and it doesn't have to be an exact amount. It's about 2 ounces that I gave you. And you're going to put the water in there. So I've got about 3 ounces of water. And then I forgot my food coloring, but you would add in some drops of red food coloring and you would stir it up.
Do you put all your corn syrup in it?
I did, because I kind of measured out about 1 to 2 ounces. So then I'm just stirring till the water and the corn syrup kind of mix together, going back and forth, going different ways. And then I gave you a ton of flour, so you probably don't need all this flour. Like I said, I forgot my food coloring. So now is the time when you would add your food coloring right into the bowl and you would stir that up. And as it says on your instructions, arterial blood is bright red, while venous blood is dark maroon. So if you have green or blue, you could also add that to make your fake blood. So now's the time when I would add my food coloring.
You put the food.
Go ahead.
Do you put the food coloring in before the flour?
Yes.
Okay.
So pretend my yellow bowl has red blood in it now. Okay, and then I'm just going to pour in maybe like 1/4 of this bag. It says sifted flour, but I don't like sifting, so I'd rather just stir a lot. And this just kind of makes it a little bit more, have more substance to it. So I might have to stir a lot because I didn't sift it. I refuse to sift. So this blood ends up looking kind of realistic and kind of chunky sometimes. If you smash the flour bits up against the side, you kind of get rid of them. I apologize. It looks better when it's got the red food coloring in it. But there it's a little bit thick because blood's not like water. You know, the old saying, blood is thicker than water. Okay, so there's our fake blood that I wish was red. All right. Your next thing that you're going to be able to make is going to be scabs and scars. And that's the 4th one down on your sheet. You're going to take your oatmeal and your glue. So you can make face scabs with this. And I'm just going to go ahead and put all my oatmeal in. And put all my glue in. I'm going to start stirring. And don't worry if you don't get all the glue out, because I think I gave you plenty of glue. So what you could do with this is you can save it until Halloween if you want to. Put it in something that's airtight. And got some gross looking scabs. So when it comes time for Halloween, you want to put it on your skin and let it dry a little bit. That glue will dry. And then you can even put some of the fake blood on top of that. Or maybe you're going to get some zombie makeup if you're going to be a zombie for Halloween. And it smells good like glue, but it looks pretty disgusting. Yeah, I see you smelling it. So, okay, so now my hand is zombified. There's also another recipe using gelatin powder. And then if you're really serious, you can get liquid latex at a Halloween store, and you can actually make some fake scabs that you can keep from time to time. And my daughter, when she was a teenager, she loved to dress up like a zombie when we used to have the zombie walk and the thriller dance. And she would keep her latex scabs in the bathroom drawer, and it was disgusting. So she used to work at a haunted house also. All right. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to make our snack mix, which I didn't want to put together because I thought that the little gummies would make it all stale. So I just got out a bowl, and I've got my Halloween themed Apple Jacks, my monster gummies, and my white chocolate. And I'm just going to dump it all together. And that's going to be our snack mix. I was so excited because the Apple Jacks have Halloween marshmallows in them. So there's special Apple Jacks for this time of year. So I think this is the easiest recipe ever. I just gave you a bunch of stuff, and there you go. There's your snack mix. Tastes pretty good. I think the white chocolate. Oh yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, does anybody have any questions for me before we finish up? I hope you had fun. I see Callie has a question.
There you go. Is there just 3 ingredients for the snack?
Yes, 3 ingredients for the snack mix.
Perfect.
Apple Jacks, white chocolate, and the gummies. And if you look at them closely, they have weird little gross faces on them. All right, anybody else? Okay, well, I want to remind you, we have a last Saturday Halloween party on October 29th here at the Massillon Public Library from noon to 2, and you're invited to come to that, wear your costume, and just come and have fun at our Halloween party. So I hope you have fun this beautiful fall day, and come in and see us at the library and borrow some books. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.